My name is Susan Remington. I'm the owner of Pro Mechanical LLC. We are a union plumbing and mechanical company here in Kansas City. We do mainly government contracting, so we work on Whiteman Air Force Base in Fort Leavenworth. We also do a lot at VA hospitals and other surrounding hospitals, and a lot of school work.
How did you get into business?
Pro Mechanical started because I've been in the blue collar for pretty much my entire life. Started out with livestock jobs, and I'd gone as far as I could in my corporate career. So my family was involved in construction. I knew the business side, so I thought, why not hire a family and start the construction business?
Awesome. What aspect of your time at Cargill or your corporate career do you think helped you in starting your own business and running your own business?
I learned a lot about how to manage people. I learned how to collaborate with different aspects of a company. So I worked in many different parts of the corporate world when I was there. Sales, inside, marketing. I worked in the plant part, so I understood how to actually manufacture and then how those worked together. So there's plenty of companies out there that have different cylinders and they stay in their little area, but working together makes a great company. So that was my goal, is to make sure that the company collaborated and all worked together.
Awesome. You mentioned that your family's been in construction, and then you told us about your 5 family members that work for you from mechanical. What's that dynamic like? Because I know that a lot of times, being in a small family business as well, sometimes that can be difficult, but it also has its benefits. Will you talk a little bit kind of about the pros and cons of working with family?
That's a decision that you really have to think about before you get involved in it. That was at least a 2-year process for us to think through. You have to know that you're strong enough as a family to handle going into business together. You have to know that family dinners are going to be a little bit different once you start in business together. And you have to know that you've got a strong relationship outside of the business, and you have to be able to separate. You have to know that regardless of what's going on with family, if there's issues at home, they stay at home. And then if there's issues with the business, it stays with the business. And you have to be able to separate those two, or else it's not going to work together. There's plenty of times that I've sent cousins home and no pay. But you come to the family dinner and you're cousins. You're not owner and boss, you're a cousin. Same with a son that works for us. I'm not mom when I'm at the office, I'm the boss. My husband also works for me, and we can be fighting at home and not speaking, but when we get to the office, we're co-workers and we work together to make sure that the business takes care of itself. Then we can go home and not talk again.
So what challenges in this industry do you feel like you had to face that maybe a male counterpart wouldn't have had to face?
I think that we probably both face having stereotypes. Blue collar has always faced stereotypes where people look at blue collar and they think less education, less pay, and then we just face it a little bit more. We face not just white collar looking at us, but also our same people in this construction industry, blue collar, looking at us saying, pretty hair, you wear a skirt, you probably don't even know this business. So we're probably having to work a little bit harder just to prove that we know what we're doing in the same business as the blue collar. So we have stereotypes just like everyone else that you have to work past. So I would say I probably spend the first 20 minutes of every conversation just proving that I know what I'm talking about. So it just takes a little bit longer to get past that. But there's also benefits too.
Would you expand on some of the benefits of being a woman in this industry?
When I'm in a business meeting, let's just say it's a pre-bid or we're doing a pre-construction meeting. There's 10 or 12 people sitting around a room. If I want to have a conversation with someone, or if I want to command the room, if I go to speak, it's pretty much a given that when I start speaking, most everyone's going to stop and listen. Where if you have 10 other guys and another guy wants to speak, everybody tries to talk over them. It's just different because it's more of a respect thing, and I'm different in the room, so I probably get a little bit more respect that way. They may not always listen to what I have to say, but it is a different personality, so that helps. I also think that I bring something a little bit different to the table. You have a lot of the same that they're used to hearing, and then I bring something different. Women are a little bit better at multitasking, so I'm thinking about different things going on at the same time versus what my trade has to get done. I'm not just thinking about my trade, I'm thinking about what my subs have to do, or a trade that works with me. Is this going to interact with them? I also look at my crew a little bit different, so I think that that's a benefit of women. I don't look at them as an asset, I look at them as people. So I think I hold on to my crew a little bit better than some of my male counterparts, because they know that I know their family, I know them, I know what's going on in their life, so that helps too.
Awesome. What resources do you feel like are available today for women wanting to emerge in this industry and kind of come onto the scene that maybe weren't in the past, whether that be 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
I think that there's a lot of women that are now in the industry wanting to make sure that it's easier for those getting started. So there's affiliates out there, WeBank, Win, that help people get started, not just with finance, but mentorships, programs to help you get your WBE, programs to help you get started with bonding. It's also easier because you've got places to go to find those counterparts. Find someone that has the same problems that you do. Find someone that will help mentor you through that. The WCOE, NAWIC, organizations like that will help you find other women, to where 10 years ago when you started in the industry, you had to actually just start going to meetings or going to job sites and finding a woman and latching onto her and saying, okay, have you ever had this problem before? It's a little bit easier to find other women in the industry now. So that's a given. I think it's probably reaching out to those. We have WIC Week going on, and that's going to help bring women together. We have other organizations that have events going on where you can just find a mentor. There's Hellsberg events where you just find someone that knows exactly what you are going through and will help you reach the next 2 years of your life in the construction industry. That's going to be a big part of finding those pitfalls and avoiding them. It saves you money and it saves you time, so your business is going to kick off a little bit faster.
You expand a little bit on women construction owners and executives, as well as the National Association of Women in Construction. And then will you also say at least once the full title, you know what I mean, and then maybe an acronym afterwards, but just so people know, a lot of people won't know. Okay. WCOE.
Yeah, the two organizations that I belong to that I think have really helped, WCOE is Women Construction Owners and Executives. That is, if you are starting a business or you are high up in a business, you're going to have different issues or different problems than women that may just belong to a construction company or may actually have boots on the ground working in construction. WCOE will help you find those other women executives or owners that are going to have the same issues running a construction company. That's an organization that meets once a month, and you're going to find those other mentors. They're going to help you reach a WBE status, or they're going to help you find bonding companies to help your company, or they're going to help you find a new bank that's going to get you a line of credit. Whatever the issue is that you're having, you're going to find another woman that's going through the same issues that you are. NAWIC is National Association of Women in Construction, and that is for all women in construction. It does not matter where you are in construction, if it's boots on the ground or if it is someone that owns, a huge company. That is for all women to come together, no matter where you are in construction. They do a lot of support. They go out to high schools and recruit, even middle schools. They do scholarship programs to get women in construction. They do a lot of events to get people involved, not just women, but that's our goal, is to get more women in construction.
So kind of switching gears a little bit, who would you consider a role model or mentor? If there is one industry specific, that'd be great, but maybe one that's not necessarily industry specific as well. Just who's a big influence in your life and kind of a push for starting this business?
There's a lot of women in construction that have been mentors. I probably too many to count. Very early on, probably my first year in construction, I had two that I latched onto very quickly. One, Brandy McCombs, she had just gone through the same issue that I had, getting denied for her first time through WBE status, and was successfully getting her status. And I had gone through the exact same problem. So like I said, WCOE was a place to find that person that had the same issue as you. She helped me get through that hurdle. Rosie Privatera Bondo, she actually latched on to me on a couple of jobs that we were on together. She's electrical and I was mechanical sub on a couple of jobs. So she helped me get started actually getting in front of general contractors. So that was just somebody to mentor you and help you get out there into the world of construction. I would say my major influences that were not construction, obviously I gain a lot of strength from God. I mean, He helps me get through a lot of things that I need some grace to keep my mouth shut and to keep going. But I had two men early in life, very early in life, that said, it doesn't matter what your gender is, if this is what you want to do, go for it. So obviously, if you look at my history, I don't have any gender jobs that would really be called female jobs, and they said, don't worry about it. If this is what you want, go for it. So I haven't had just females that have influenced me. I've had males that have said, it doesn't matter if you're a female. This is what you want, go for it. And those two men are probably the reason I got one of the first female sales managers jobs in Cargill.
So I guess kind of building off of, you talked about your sales manager position at Cargill and then transitioning from that into what you're doing today. At what point in time, or was there a specific event or a series of events that you said, this is what I want to make a career out of? This is the direction I want to go and I want this to be my career?
I had learned through Cargill what type of manager I wanted to be and what type of manager I didn't want to be. Probably 2 to 3 years into pro mechanical, I realized that this company could support my family. We were going to be successful enough if I worked hard enough to not just support my family, but to support other family members' families. And I had friends that we had hired that had stuck with us for the first 3 years, and we're going to continue to stick with us. And I realized I could support their families. And then I got to know other employees that we had hired, and they became family. And I was supporting their families too. And I looked at the employees we had and I said, you know, if we can make this a success and continue, I'm supporting a lot of families here. So, yep, this is my goal. This is going to be for life.
So I actually really liked that answer. And it sounds like you're in a position where you feel like you're kind of a part of something bigger than yourself a little bit. And I noticed that you guys do a lot of work at military bases, schools, hospitals. Is part of the reason you go after that market because you feel like you're kind of contributing to a greater good a little bit?
I feel like that is where we found our niche. So I slowly hired people for their passion. So the first project manager was my husband. His passion was the VA hospitals. He's really good at that. He worked in them when he was a fitter himself, got to know that system really well. And that's what he was really good at bidding. And when you're really good at bidding something, you're going to be able to get that job and you're going to be successful at that. And he project managed what he actually bid and won. The next project manager I hired was a former military, and he understood that life. And he was really good at Whiteman Air Force Base. He'd worked that when he was a fitter, and he was really good at bidding those jobs. And so that was his passion. So that's the reason we went in that direction. The next project manager estimator I hired was really good at schools. That's what he managed when he was a project manager. And so it kind of evolutionized itself. But we went after those jobs because I believe in the unions. And the guys that I hire out of the unions are really good at what they do. I have no problem hiring a guy out of the union and putting him to work, running my jobs, not just a journeyman. So I know that they're good at what they do, and I get that from my general contractors all the time. We'd hire you every day if we could. If you could be low bid every day, we'd hire you. So I know they're doing a good job when they're out there. In order to keep my union guys working, I have to have prevailing wage jobs. That's one of the main reasons I go to government jobs. So as long as I can keep those guys working, I'm impacting a lot of families. That's my main goal. So when you talk about impacting, yeah, I probably am impacting the government, by doing a lot of government work, but my main goal is to impact those families. So they can go on vacation and not worry about their paycheck, or they can get sick or their kids get sick and not worry about their paycheck. So that's my main goal.
So then you talked about, kind of going back to the role models a little bit, you talked about how you were impacted positively by the people that have been in your life. What would you tell a young woman, maybe not even just wanting to get into construction, but wanting to get into a blue collar industry? What would you tell her, knowing what you know now, and kind of serving as a mentor for her?
The first thing I would tell her is to get a mentor. There's going to be pitfalls no matter what career you get into, and finding a mentor early on is going to help you avoid some of those pitfalls. That's going to save you time, and that's going to save you money. It's going to save you heartache. If you can find someone that's going to help you avoid a few of those, yeah, you could get thick skin, going through them, but it's going to help you get further into your career a lot faster. A lot of us women, we're hard-headed and we're stubborn and we think we can do it all by ourselves. But if you can find someone that's going to help you get further faster by saying, do this, don't do that, that's probably the smartest move that you're going to make. We really think that we are smart enough to get there by ourselves because that's just the way that we were brought up. We can do it all on our own, but it's super smart to find someone that's already been there and that can get you through that. So I think the number one thing I would say is find a mentor. The second thing I would say is don't give up. The first 2 to 3 years is the hardest. That's going to try you. Plenty of Sunday nights I did not sleep very well because Monday morning is payday. And paying your guys is what has to happen. Your crew is your number one asset. So Monday mornings I had to pay. Sometimes that came out of my own pay. So don't give up. That's the second thing.
Obviously you're incredibly busy. I'm a pro mechanical. You just told us that you like to do some photography on the side as well. And then I noticed how much you volunteer. Where do you find the time, or how do you have the ability, I guess, to balance all of those different things at a high level?
My daughter will tell you one of the first words that comes out of my mouth when she comes up with an excuse is priorities. And she'll roll her eyes when I say that, but priorities. You have to find what's important in your life and make them priorities. So I don't think there's anything in this world that doesn't run with some volunteers. And if I'm not willing to do it, who's going to do it? So I believe our leaders in this world are going to come from our churches, our Girl Scouts, and our 4-H. And so that's the reason I use my spare time to volunteer for those. You see a lot of leaders coming from Girl Scouts and coming from 4-H already. And so I'm a 4-H leader and a Girl Scout leader for those reasons. I also believe in WCOE and NAWIC because those are the women in construction now. And if we don't have volunteers to keep them strong, they're not going to be here for 5 or 10 years or 20 years when my daughter wants to be in something like this. So in order to keep them strong for future, someone's got to volunteer now for that. So if you have the priorities, you've got an extra hour or 2 every month for something like that.
If you had a microphone and a room full of just male colleagues and free reign to say whatever you wanted, what would you say?
I think I went over a little bit of this, but I think the first thing I would say is look behind and beyond the hair in the skirt. We're asking the world to look beyond the blue collar, that stereotype. We have commercials out there now, and we have counselors in the high schools trying to say, look past it being a tradesman and it being not less pay and less education, and it actually meaning just as much as the college education. We're asking the same thing from you when you see a woman in construction. Look past the skirt and look past the hair and say she may have something to bring to the table that could make a pretty great team. So it may not be the exact same thing to offer as the man. I may not be able to carry as big of a pipe as you, but I may have something else to offer that could make great collaboration and make a great team between the two of us.
Just kind of a basic intro.
My name is Susan Remington. I'm the owner of Pro Mechanical LLC. We are a union plumbing and mechanical company here in Kansas City. We do mainly government contracting. So we work on Whiteman Air Force Base in Fort Leavenworth. We also do a lot at VA hospitals and other surrounding hospitals, and a lot of school work.